So just so everyone knows, the meeting's being recorded. My name is John Lever. I'm the IB program coordinator over at Cheyenne East High School. And also on the call, we've got Zane Jacobson, who's the counselor. Mr. Jacobson, if you want to introduce yourself real quick. Oh, oops. There we go. My bad. There we go. All right. Sorry about that. I don't know why I put everybody in the waiting room there. Anyway, okay. My name's John Lever. I'm the IB program coordinator. Just so everybody knows, this meeting is being recorded so that we can use it in the future as well. Also with us tonight, who's going to be sharing some information too, is Mr. Zane Jacobson. Mr. Jacobson, do you want to take just a minute to introduce yourself?
Hello, I was just getting the video turned on for you guys. Good evening, my name is Zane Jacobson. I'm the counselor in the IB program. Work with students with the particulars as they move through high school. I'm also, do work with the other, we work with the other counselors and part of that whole 4 or 5 year plan that we have, 4 years of the high school and helping with that 5th year moving out. So glad to have you guys tonight and hope help you with the decisions you're making.
Thank you, Mr. Jacobson. So we don't have a lot of people on tonight, but we'll, like I said, we're going to record this. We're also going to put it on our webpage for others to take a look at as well. And just to kind of give you a quick layout of where we're going to go with this tonight, I'll kind of go through I'll go through what the IB program is, give a little bit of background on it, how it works at Cheyenne East High School, because every school around the world does things just a little bit differently with IB. Then Mr. Jacobson's going to share a little bit in terms of some of the benefits of the IB program. And then I've got some recordings of some past students who graduated and who are now in college and what they feel like IB did for them. And then we'll open the door to some questions. So we'll go ahead and get things started then. So, and I'm going to work with a PowerPoint here. And so I'm going to share that. Whoops, wait a minute. Doesn't work quite like that there. Here we go. So, all right. All right, so welcome to the International Baccalaureate Program Parent Information Night. I know this isn't an unusual way of doing things, but I guess these are somewhat unusual times as well. So with that then, what is IB? So the International Baccalaureate Program actually is an international organization. There are several thousand high schools across about 130 different countries that have this particular program. It's called the Diploma Program. And this particular program actually provides students with some college rigor, some life skills as well in terms of time management, time budgeting, project management, planning, that kind of stuff, and a little bit more in depth in terms of the way colleges, or a little bit more in depth in terms of the way students can learn. So let's see here, I'm going to see if I can make this link work here. And it is not going to the video I intended it to go to. So, all right. Oh, here we go. Here it is. So I'm going to go ahead and hit play on this.
The IB Diploma Program puts the student in a center of a very global context.
the emphasis is on the process of knowing. Once they get their hands on the process, they will continue with that love for learning. So they are more interested in how to learn.
DP, it really gives you a lot of opportunity to challenge yourself.
I can learn to step out of boundaries without breaking the rules. Traditional schooling doesn't teach that.
They don't just understand individual subjects, they understand the context of those subjects. So I think they have a broader base of understanding how individual subjects fit into just knowledge as a whole.
It really integrates the community more. They become quite a part of the school because they're involved in the various activities.
It gives the students a much broader view of life, and it prepares them in a much better way.
It allows for that flexibility to be able to meet different needs of students to maximize the potential.
The diploma program offers a wonderful opportunity. Once you're in university, the payoffs are enormous.
Our DP learners go off to university and they come back and they say, I feel really equipped for this. That confidence will carry them through further.
CAS gives me opportunity to be better at things that aren't strictly academic and help other people.
It really opens your mind and view on the world. If I were in another system, I wouldn't think of writing or researching on a topic in such depth.
Learning doesn't only happen in the classroom, but it's a continuous experience that should go on throughout your entire life.
In TOK, we basically question things like how do we know what we know, who determines what is right and wrong.
It sort of instills this life experience in you that you would use somewhere else, whether it is with your family when you grow up or with your friends.
You're always learning whilst you're on an adventure, and it's a personal adventure.
At the end of the diploma program, you have a very knowledgeable student.
All right, so that's it's the IB diploma program from the point of view of the IB. You know, and really what you see there, I think, is that there's a big focus on not just learning the discrete subjects, but learning about connections and learning that students really are a bigger part of a bigger world, rather. You heard students talk about, they mentioned, one of the terms you heard mentioned in there was CAS, which is creativity, activity, and service. And so students that go into the full diploma program, junior and senior year, they're expected to do some community service as well, and to try to help make the community and the world a little bit better place. So with that, we're going to take a minute here just to look at the IB mission statement. You know, and really, this is across all IB programs, but I think overall it summarizes very well what IB is really looking for. And I'll give you just a second here to read that. But a couple of things that I really want to highlight here with respect to this are that they are really looking to try to create inquiring, or not create, but help students become inquiring, knowledgeable, and caring young people who help to create a better and more peaceful world through intercultural understanding and respect. And that's really an important thing, I think, to keep in mind with respect to the IB program, is that, excuse me, it's not just about learning content, but it's about how do you make that content, how do you use that content to make the world a better place? So IB has developed this wheel to highlight the program. And in the center of the wheel, you notice you've got what's called the IB learner profile, or the IB learner. We're going to take a look here at the learner profile in just a little bit here. Around that, we've got approaches to teaching and approaches to learning. Our teachers go to some pretty specific training, and they're in order for us to be able to continue on as an IB school, these teachers are required actually to do this on a regular basis. And so when we're looking at approaches to teaching and learning, teachers are provided some additional instruction, or additional professional development rather, in terms of some ways to approach content that's a little bit it's a little bit different maybe from what they would normally pick up just in their education prep classes and college and that kind of thing. There are, I will say, an awful lot of similarities between IB and AVID when you look at the approaches to teaching and learning. And it really does try to push students to think about, you know, what's the best way for me to be able to manage work that I have to get done, and how can I best handle this? The next portion of the wheel is what's known as the core, the theory of knowledge, extended essay, and creativity and activity and service. We'll get more into those if your students decide to join the IB program. We'll get more into that core area when they're registering at the end of their sophomore year, so that they'll know that these are some things that are expected of them as juniors and seniors. When you move to the next level out, language acquisition, studies in language and literature, individuals and societies, math, the arts and sciences, those are the different content areas that IB has. So studies in language and literature really is our lit class. Language acquisition, world languages, individuals and societies, social studies, math and sciences are key there too. In the arts, we also have some visual, we also have some IB art classes for juniors and seniors. But the idea here, I hope you see, is that IB is really looking to develop students in a well-rounded fashion. They don't want students necessarily to just take social studies or just math or just world language. They want students to take some classes all around that wheel. And so as such, and we'll get a little bit more into this in just a few minutes here, as such, we do, as for freshmen and sophomores, expect that they take IB literature, IB science, IB history, IB math, and IB social studies. Because that's, as you can see, those are going to be key to the program as students move into their junior and senior year. So, as I mentioned, we are going to get into this here in just a little bit, and now we're jumping right into it. With respect to the 9th and 10th grade courses, I know this kind of sounds like an obvious statement, but 9th and 10th grade really are prep for the 11th and 12th grade diploma program courses. The IB diploma program really starts, the IB diploma program really starts in the 11th and 12th grade. That's when students are going to be taking classes that are prepping them to take the IB exams. And so what we have done then, or what our teachers have done rather, is to take a look at where do students need to be at the end of the 11th and 12th grade to be ready for an exam in, say, European history or IB biology. And they have backwards, they plan backwards then, you know, where we know where students are coming in as 8th graders. Where do we need to get them to be by the end of their junior or senior year? And so they have adjusted the curriculum for the 9th and 10th grade to make sure that our students really are ready when they go into the 11th grade to take those full diploma program courses and then do well in, and do well on the exam at the end of the year. So like I said earlier, we do expect that IB freshmen and sophomores will take English, math, social studies, science, and a world language. Typically, world languages are an elective. However, we do expect that they will take a world language because in order to pursue the full diploma as a junior and senior, students have to have a world language, and the only way really to be ready for the IB exam in a world language is to have 4 years of that language. So when students become juniors and seniors, they can pursue what's known as the full diploma, or they can do an a la carte of IB classes. We do have some students who say, you know what, I just want to do one class. And we have some students who say, I want to do 2 or 3. And then we have some who say, I want to do the full diploma. Regardless of which of what year in high school students are, they are still able to take electives outside of IB. In fact, they have to actually in order to meet graduation requirements as well. So, so they do have some flexibility with those open slots for the elective classes. Let's see here. All right. So, Mr. Jacobson, I'm going to go ahead and put you on the spot here to talk about some of the benefits of the program.
Thank you. So with a lot of what different people looking at different approaches into IB, there's a lot of different reasons on why students and parents decide to enroll into the IB program. With that being said, you know, we hear from students that that they were interested, they were drawn into the learning environment, that they were excited about being in a classroom with a lot of like-minded students who took their education quite seriously and liked the challenge of being in some advanced classes. And, you know, sometimes it turns out that our class sizes are a little bit smaller, and there can be some advantages of that too. There's other reasons that parents look at and students look at is being prepared for college, understanding that how significant that college education is and the pursuit of it, and have that idea in their mind that they want to do what they can to improve their opportunities in being successful as they move through the college experience. So that's a big reason why parents and students choose to enroll, is the idea that making sure that after high school they've taken advantage of opportunities that are going to help them moving forward with their education. You know, some people really believe in just the philosophy of IB, of how all areas of learning are as significant as the others, and they all work together. You really see that with IB, it's quite exceptional on how all the content areas tie their work together, and how common that learning is as they move through, and it helps make it so much more efficient. So, you know, those are, and the one, you know, you can't really forget is that that students in their 11th and 12th grade years are taking college level classes, and they're going to earn college credit. And that really makes a big difference when you're entering into college and you've already earned upwards to 12 to even up to 30 plus credits moving into college. It just opens so many doors and so many different opportunities of how you go about your college experience. Students that very easily can gain a major or a degree in 4 years along with a minor, and some students have even graduated with 2 degrees in 4 years with going in with so many credits. So not that happens a lot, but it gives students opportunities, and it really it gives them a chance to make the most of what they're comfortable with and what's available out there. You know, it's fun to talk with students that are entering, and it's fun to talk with students out. You know, sometimes they enter for one reason and they stick with it for another reason. But you find a lot of benefits in this, the way this program works, and the results that come out of it. It really does set students up to be lifelong learners that really value and understand the significance of an education. And it's something that it's really rewarding to see those students come back and know how empowered they are with their education. So with that, we'll bounce it back to you, Mr. Lieber.
All right, thanks, Mr. Jacobson. Appreciate that. You know, when Mr. Jacobson was talking about the interconnectedness between the courses, I want to share with, I'm going to steal some of your material there, Mr. Jacobson. I know you're getting used to that. Several years ago, and this was, correct me if I'm wrong, but we're just getting a new, teacher in the environmental systems course, and one of the students had come out of the test, and later he asked that student, "So how'd the test go?" And this was for a science course that the student had taken the test in, And Mr. Jacobson says, so how'd that environmental systems course or test go? And the student said, you know, I was writing my exam. The only thing I could really think about was my history teacher telling me I needed to provide more evidence. There really is a big connection across all the content areas. Not always specifically with respect to content, but without a doubt, those skills get applied across the board. Students are going to be learning to write, and the skills that they learn in English, they're going to be using in math. The skills they're using in math, or developing in math, they're going to be learning or applying in, in history or in biology. This really is a very, the program really is very much looking to build connections across all content areas, and not just with content, but with those skills as well. You don't just learn one way in science, you learn about a variety of ways there. So with that, then I'm going to go ahead and see, oh, there we go. I'm going to go ahead and move on over to showing showing a couple of other videos here of some of our past graduates and what they think of having been in the IB program.
Experiences in IB have been a wonderful thing. Going into college, I realized that I needed to be able to think on my feet and really think for myself and be able to live in a world and interpret the world in such a way which would enable me to be not only a better citizen, but a better world citizen. And I think that's what IB did most for me. It offered me multiple perspectives, and I got to talk with people and learn with people who were going to be at my caliber, a student who were going to work hard, push themselves to be better and to be open to those other perspectives. I recommend it just for that purpose, not just for the academic side of it and trying to, make your college application look better, but for the personal enrichment that you can get from the IB program.
The biggest thing that IB helped me with throughout college is writing for sure. With all the writing that we do in IB, it's made papers that I should turn sooner, something I can easily do in like half an hour and do well.
So hi, my name is David Garcia. I was an IB student for 4 years. My junior and senior year, I decided that simply taking 2 IB classes, 2 to 3, would be more manageable for me as a student. When I did that, I wasn't really thinking about the benefits more as I wasn't thinking as hard as I probably should have. But entering college, I suddenly realized that just taking those 2 classes and getting those 11 credits gave me a nice head start in college. Now I'm in my first semester of college. Because I did come in with a head start, I was able to take less credits just to transition, and I'm still ahead in my degree. And so it doesn't have to be difficult. IB is very manageable if you work at your own pace. I'm glad I did. That was one of the best decisions I've made, and it's gonna impact me in a positive way for the next 4 years of college. And so that's something I'm grateful for. IBU is a great program.
Experience.
It turned out that a lot of the stuff that professors were wanting me to do was already stuff that I had been prepared for by the IB program and very thoroughly prepared for too. And even when I was given such a mass influx of assignments or homework to do or anything like that, I always was able to sort of go through everything logically step by step and sort of do what the IB program taught me to do, which is manage my time and tackle problems in a very logical way and a very procedural way to be able to get through any of those issues that I had struggled with previously. And I also noticed a lot of other other people that I went to college with that didn't do the IB program in high school, and they were certainly struggling a lot with their studies when they got to college, whereas I felt like college was a lot easier for me because I did the IB program.
IB, to me, it was, going through it was really hard, but I think it was worth it because like now in college, it's super easy. With some of the grades I did get, I opted out of a few classes, which is really nice. Because then you don't have to spend money on those classes.
All right. Might have messed up somewhat on time. We've got a bunch of people joining us now, so go ahead and take some questions from some folks. But for those of you that are just joining us right now, I will go back. Mr. Jacobson, feel free to stay on, or feel free to, if you've got some other things going on, because apparently I messed up, and I apologize to everybody for that. So if you've got some questions, you may unmute yourself, or you can put it in the chat box. So. Any questions out there? So Chris just asked the question, if the student starts the program and decides it's not for them, what are the options? The options for students at that point, we can definitely look at a different schedule for a student. You know, because some students do start and say, you know what, I want to do something different. And so we can transition to them on the, we can transition them into non-IB classes. Another question that was just asked was, how much homework can we expect the kids to have? I'll tell you what, I've got a student who's in the program, and usually we're looking at about, 3, maybe 4 hours of homework a week is usually what we're looking at here. So students with IEPs, we do have students with IEPs in the program. And with those students, our teachers utilize the IEP accommodations, and we actually, some of our really successful students are on IEPs. So we do have students with IEPs and 504s. Other questions? So yeah, somebody pointed out that I did put in the pamphlet that it was 6:30, and I don't know what happened. I got 6 o'clock in my head, and I truly apologize for that. So for those of you that are joining for the 6:30 meeting, we'll start that up here in just a couple of minutes again. I really apologize to everybody for that. All right, so we'll give it another minute here, and then we'll kind of run back through things. So we just had a question, is there testing like there is in an AP class after a year of class? And yes, but the IB exams do not start until junior and senior year. And in some cases, the exam will be after 1 year, and in some cases, the exam will be after 2 years. It really depends on the class. The way IB has things structured, there are some classes that kids have to take over the course of 2 years. Those are what we call higher level classes. And even some of our standard level classes we do after the course of 1 year or after 2 years. Some of those classes that we do have, and we do them in the course of 1 year. But there is an IB exam similar to an AP exam. However, one of the big differences, and then we'll maybe shift back over to the start of the presentation there, but one of the big differences between AP and IB in terms of the exams that I really actually like a lot is that the IB exam is actually structured in multiple parts. So the first part of the IB exam, the kids will do in the spring in class with their teacher. The teacher will grade it and then submit that grade to IB. And then in May, over the course usually of about 2 days, students will do 2 or 3 written responses to those or written extended response type exams. And those particular exams, then all of that gets blended, or not blended, but aggregated to the overall score. Whereas with AP, generally speaking, you're looking at one and done. What I mean by that is you have 1 3-hour test, and after an hour and a half of multiple choice, you switch to extended response, and how you did it in that 3 hours is how you did. Whereas IB, I feel like, is actually giving students a little more opportunity to learn some of that material. So there's a question here about how the classes line up with the Hathaway Scholarship. Mr. Jacob, taking the Hathaway Scholarship question there.
Good evening. I'm going to go ahead and introduce myself. I'm the counselor in the International Baccalaureate Program. I work alongside the other counselors as we with the IB students in particular, though. And one of the things that we do talk with students about right from the start of high school is the Hathaway Scholarship, because it is such a great opportunity for students to earn scholarship money. And so everything we do through IB fits into the requirements with the Hathaway Scholarship, including foreign languages and meeting all the other core requirements. So most IB students are quite a bit above what the requirements are for that, and are eligible by the time they graduate. Thank you.
Thanks for introducing yourself there too. So for everybody who's just coming in, Mr. Jacobson just introduced himself, and I will reintroduce myself. My name is John Lever. I'm the IB program coordinator. I work alongside Mr. Jacobson to try to help students be as successful as possible in the IB program. So kind of as an overview again, for those of you who are just joining us here, the way that we're going to go ahead and do things for the act 2 of the presentation is that we'll look a little bit about how IB is set up and what it is and how it's set up. We'll talk a little bit about how IB works at East High School. Mr. Jacobson is going to talk a little bit about some of the benefits of the program. And then you'll hear some of what past students have had to say about being a part of IB, and then we'll take some other questions. So with that, we're going to go ahead and do round 2 then of the presentation here tonight. So get that shared there. All right, so again, welcome again to the International Baccalaureate Parent Information Night. If you were a part of this before, it's all going to be repeated. So thank you for joining us. You're welcome to stay on, but you don't have to. So with that, then, of course, the real question is, what is the IB Diploma Program? The IB Diploma Program is really a program that's designed to help students be prepared for going on to college, but also to just general life as well. As I was saying earlier, really the idea is to try to help students build connections across content, not just in terms of content, but also in terms of skills. And so with that, I'm going to show a short video here of the IB program and from the IB that talks a bit about what the diploma program is. Before I get that started real quick though, I do want to point out that the IB diploma program, I think there's like 6,000 high schools over 130 different countries that utilize this. So I want to mention that you're really in a very unique spot in Cheyenne in that you have the opportunity to participate in the IB program, because there is only one other public high school in the state of Wyoming that actually offers the diploma program. So we're really lucky to be where we are here.
I think the IB Diploma Program puts the student in a center of a very global context.
The emphasis is on the process of knowing. Once they get their hands on the process, they will continue with that love for learning. So they are more interested in how to learn.
DP, it really gives you a lot of opportunity to challenge yourself.
I can learn to step out of boundaries without breaking the rules. Traditional schooling doesn't teach that.
They don't just understand individual subjects, they understand the context of those subjects. So I think they have a broader base of understanding how individual subjects fit into just knowledge as a whole.
It really integrates the community more. They become quite a part of the school because they're involved in the various activities.
It gives the students a much broader view of life, and it prepares them in a much better way.
It allows for that flexibility to be able to meet different needs of students to maximize the potential.
The diploma program offers a wonderful opportunity. Once you're in university, the payoffs are enormous.
Our DP learners go off to university and they come back and they say, I feel really equipped for this. That confidence will carry them through further.
CAS gives me an opportunity to be better at things that aren't strictly academic and help other people.
Excellent essay. It really opens your mind and view on the world. If I were in another system, I wouldn't think of writing or researching on a topic in such depth.
Learning doesn't only happen in the classroom, but it's a continuous experience that should go on throughout your entire life.
In TOK, we basically question things like, how do we know what we know? Who determines what is right and wrong?
It sort of instills this life experience in you that you would use somewhere else, whether it is with your family when you grow up or with your friends.
You're always learning whilst you're on an adventure, and it's a personal adventure.
At the end of the diploma program, you have a very knowledgeable student.
All right, so that's IB in the words of IB. Want you to take I want to put up the IB mission statement here for you, and I'll give you a second to read through that. While you're reading it though, a couple things that I do want to highlight. So the International Baccalaureate aims to develop inquiring, knowledgeable, and caring young people who help to create a better and more peaceful world through intercultural understanding and respect. And the other piece there that I want to highlight is in the last bullet, compassionate lifelong learners who understand that other people with their differences can also be right. So really, when you think about those two pieces there, IB is really more than just learning a set of facts. It's really about how do we apply those facts so that we can help to solve problems, and so that we can be open-minded enough to hear what other people have to say, and be able to have disagreements in meaningful and productive fashions. So really, if a student is a part of the IB, that's really what you're seeing here is the goal that everybody's going to be pushing for here. I want to highlight this wheel because this wheel shows or highlights the diploma program. So the outset here, we've got the IB diploma program. The other part of this outer wheel is the idea of international mindedness, recognizing that their students are a part of a much bigger world. As you move in one level from there, you notice we've got each of the major content areas. We've got social studies, literature, world languages, science, the arts, mathematics. When students become juniors and seniors, if they're going to pursue what's known as the full IB diploma, they need to do one exam or one class in each of these content areas. And so really the IB, as you can see, is looking for more than just being able to memorize certain sets of facts. They're really looking to try to help develop a well-rounded education for students and to help develop a well-rounded student. The next circle in, this is what IB calls the core. When your student hits their sophomore year, we'll spend a bit more time talking about that. Theory of knowledge, extended essay, and CAS are all things that are expected of students as they participate in the diploma program. Theory of knowledge, you heard one of the students talking about that in that video, and they were basically saying that that's where they learned to, how do we know what we know? The extended essay, students are going to be writing an in-depth research paper on their own. And then as you move in another circle here, the approaches to teaching and approaches to learning, really IB recognizes that there's a variety of ways to teach and a variety of ways to learn. And our teachers who are teaching IB classes have all been to some additional training that IB offers that really helps to embed these ideas of different approaches to teaching and learning for students. And one thing, I don't know if you're familiar with the AVID program, but there is some overlap between AVID and the IB program as well. So at East High School, and I know this is going to sound like an obvious statement, but the 9th and 10th grade courses really are preparation for the 11th and 12th grade diploma program courses. So all of our teachers that teach the 11th and 12th grade diploma program courses also teach either 9th or 10th grade, or in some cases both. Excuse me. So students actually are very aware of, or teachers rather, are very aware when students are coming in as freshmen of where they need to be when they leave high school or when they get into the 11th and 12th grade so that they can be really successful in those diploma program courses. Teachers have designed not just the content, but also skills so that it's scaffolded in such a way that students are going to be, we're going to ratchet up the rigor just a little bit every year. And students, by the time they hit 11th and 12th grade, they're like, yeah, I know what I'm doing here because we did this in 9th and 10th grade. So as 9th and 10th graders coming into the IB program, generally speaking, we expect them to take 5 IB courses. We expect them to take IB English, Math, Science, Social Studies, and a world language. Now, in most cases, world languages are considered electives, but we do expect that students take the additional world language, or take the world language rather, and take that elective spot for a world language, because in order to pursue the full diploma, as a junior and senior, you have to do a world language course and a world language exam. And the only way really to be ready for those world language exams is to be at level 4 on the world languages, which means they've got to do 4 years of it. So even if a student has taken, say, the 2 years of Spanish in junior high, they would come into high school and take year 2. And then if they, take year 3 as a sophomore and year 4 as a junior, and if they want to, they can take the exam at the end of their junior year or go on and do year 5 as well and take the exam after that. But we do expect then that they do take a world language, and that's so that they can have that opportunity to take or pursue the full diploma program. So the junior and senior year students can take the full diploma, which is 6 IB exams plus that inner ring there, theory of knowledge, the extended essay, and CAS. Or we do have some students who decide that they just want to do an a la carte, basically. They want to take just a couple of IB classes here or there. We have some who say, I'm only going to do 1, and we have some who say, I'm going to do 5, but I'm not going to pursue the diploma. And regardless of which road students go with IB, there's always opportunities for them to take other electives too. We have students who do take speech and debate and participate in that, and we also have students who are part of FFA and take those ag science classes as well. So, Mr. Jacobson, if you don't mind sharing again some of the benefits of the IB program.
Absolutely, absolutely. So, we have a number of different reasons why we see that students decide to enroll in the IB program and go through IB classes throughout their high school career. Some it's what the students want. Sometimes it's what the parents want. It's best when the students and parents both have the same kind of motivation of why they are seeking out the classes in the IB program. So, one most common is that students are really want to make sure that they are ready for college and that they are comfortable with moving from high school into college level classes. Probably about 95% of our students are going to go off to college. A good chunk of them start at LCCC. Others go all the way across different places in the country. Some don't go to college, go to the military, or start into careers. But for the most part, the biggest motivating factor or the deciding factor is that students and parents want to make sure students are ready for college and that they're successful with going into college. With that, a lot of people are drawn to the fact that you can earn so many college credits before you even enter college. It's most IB classes, those junior and senior years, each count for about a college class. So it's pretty feasible for students to earn anywhere up to, we have some students and they've really done as much as they could do, but they'd earned up near 40 college credits. That's way beyond what's most common, but it's really pretty standard that students are going to enter into college with 12 credits. And that really does help them out with a number of different ways that they can just take a few less classes. But other students look at it different as an opportunity to take more classes that may give them an opportunity to earn a minor along with a major, or some students we've even seen graduate with 2 degrees in 4 years because of that entering with so many college credits. So that's absolutely a factor. Students and parents are drawn to the idea of the class environment the IB program is able to provide. When you have 20 other students in your class, that education is a priority to in them in their 4 years of high school. It absolutely helps with that learning environment, and it gives teachers an opportunity to maybe do things a little bit different than some standard classrooms. So that's a great reason why. But it's, the way IB does things, it absolutely provides students with a tremendous education in 4 years. And everyone's working together on it. Our English teachers are working in with our science teachers, our history teachers working with math teachers, and it's a common language across all core subject areas. Absolutely, the internationalness is a part of all classes and not limited to the world languages. And when you tie all those things together and you work those different subject areas together, and it just maximizes the amount of learning that takes place over those 4 years of high school, and it allows students to really become lifelong learners and make the most of what comes out of after high school. So those are some of the reasons, and you know, some enter for one reason and it's not the most important reason to them as their 3rd or 4th year. But it's just some of the reasons why we see students and parents decide to become a part of the National Baccalaureate program. So hope to answer some questions about those things later on and help you guys out with this decision process that you're getting into right now. Thanks.
Thank you, Mr. Jacobson. I appreciate that. You know, Mr. Jacobson's absolutely right. You know, a lot of kids come in with the idea of one thing, and as time goes on, they say, "Oh, wow, I'm getting something else out of this too." You know, I will say too, before we switch to some of the videos of students, past graduates, but I will say too that you know, as IB has studied the impact of their program, students that go through the diploma program are graduating college at a much higher rate too. Upwards of, from the Chicago Public Schools, actually, upwards of 80% of students who went through the IB diploma program and then went on to college, they actually finished college, which is a pretty impressive statistic there for college, finishing college. So with that then, we're gonna go ahead and go on to the what past students have had to say about the program too. So.
Experiences in IB have been a wonderful thing. Going into college, I realized that I needed to be able to think on my feet and really think for myself and be able to live in a world and interpret the world in such a way which would enable me to be not only a better citizen, but a better world citizen. And I think that's what IB did most for me. It offered me multiple perspectives, and I got to talk with people and learn with people who were going to be at my caliber, a student who were going to work hard, push themselves to be better and to be open to those other perspectives. I recommend it just for that purpose, not just for the academic side of it and trying to, you know, make your college application look better, but for the personal enrichment that you can get from the IB program.
The biggest thing that IB helped me with throughout college is writing for sure. With all the writing that we do in IB, it's made papers that I should turn sooner, something I can easily do in like half an hour and do well.
So hi, my name is David Garcia. I was an IB student for 4 years. My junior and senior year, I decided that simply taking 2 IB classes, 2 to 3, would be more manageable for me as a student. When I did that, I wasn't really thinking about the benefits more as I wasn't thinking as hard as I probably should have. But entering college, I suddenly realized that just taking those 2 classes and getting those 11 credits gave me a nice head start in college. Now I'm in my first semester of college. Because I did come in with a head start, I was able to take less credits just to transition, and I'm still ahead in my degree. And so it doesn't have to be difficult. IB is very manageable if you work at your own pace. I'm glad I did. That was one of the best decisions I've made, and it's gonna impact me in a positive way for the next 4 years of college. And so that's something I'm grateful for. IBU is a great program.
Experiences in IB.
It turned out that a lot of the stuff that professors were wanting me to do was already stuff that I had been prepared for by the IB program and very thoroughly prepared for too. And even when I was given such a mass influx of assignments or homework to do or anything like that, I always was able to sort of go through everything logically step by step and sort of do what the IB program taught me to do, which is manage my time and tackle problems in a very logical way. and a very procedural way to be able to get through any of those issues that I had struggled with previously. And I also noticed a lot of other people that I went to college with that didn't do the IB program in high school, and they were certainly struggling a lot with their studies when they got to college, whereas I felt like college was a lot easier for me because I did the IB program.
IB, to me, going through it was really hard, but I think it was worth it because like now in college, it's super easy. With some of the grades I did get, I opted out of a few classes, which is really nice because then you don't have to spend money on those classes. But it was really fun. I had really awesome teachers, and I think it really put me ahead of the other kids in my classes now. Just talking to some of them, at some points, they don't understand some of the things that I do. So it was very beneficial, I think.
It turned out that a lot of the stuff that professors
All right, sorry about that. So with that then, we'll go ahead and open it up for some questions again. And if you've got some questions, feel free to put them in the chat or you can unmute yourself and ask the question. We do have one question in chat here that's about a resource that shows the listing for all the subjects in the IB program. We will have, actually, that's a very good question. We do have that. I will get that particular course list to our webmaster tomorrow and ask one of them to please post that on the East High School IB webpage. And in fact, actually, if you want to apply to the program, the East High IB webpage is probably the best way to do that. So I'm going to share my screen once more, share that PowerPoint. I'm going to put the link up there for you guys to see on how to get to the IB webpage. So this is the link right here to the East High IB office webpage. And if you follow this link, there actually is another link on the page that says IB application, and you can just fill that out there. The other part of that question with respect to applying to the IB program actually was what's the deadline? And we certainly like students to apply sooner rather than later, really by late January, middle of February, when registration is going on. That's when we really would like you to do that because it helps us to be able to plan our numbers and to be able to, plan courses and that kind of thing. Having said that, I will also say though that, we have actually had students walk into the office on the second day of school and say, can I please be a part of the IB program? And we sit down and take a look at things, and 99.99% of the time we say, yep, you sure can. We might put some conditions on it in admission, if we've got concerns about attendance, because obviously you need to be, in school to be able to do well with it. And on top of that, we also have, can, if we've got some questions about behavior, we might put some conditions on there too. But generally speaking, most everybody who applies is a pretty solid student, and we're pretty happy to have them to be a part of things. So this right here is the link if you go to the East High IB office website. In fact, actually, I'll follow that link real quick for you. And as you come down here, you will see right here, there's a link here that says IB application. And if you follow that, it's actually pretty quick, easy. There are only about 9 questions, 10, 11 questions, 13 questions here for you. And so they're pretty straightforward, and basically a lot of it is just kind of gathering some general info about the student. You know, so we know where you're coming from, so we can check your records and grades and that kind of thing. So that's the big thing there with that. So again, if you go to the East High IB webpage, and you'll be able to follow that link. The other piece of this too is that if you're from Cary, your student should have received one of the brochures, and there's actually a QR code in there that there's a QR code. There's a QR code that you can follow using your phone, and you can fill that out. Oh, I was just informed you actually couldn't see the web page, so I apologize for that. But if you go to that link, if you need me to put it back up again, I can do that. Other questions? As Mr. Jacobson said before, these classes, our students really do come out of high school well aligned to the Hathaway Scholarship. The courses that they are taking, they're solid courses or to the overall Hathaway program, and our students do qualify for it. But if there are no other questions tonight, thank you again for your time. Greatly appreciate it. If you have other questions, please feel free to call the East High IB office. Okay. So how has the schedule change affected the IB program with the 4x4? Well, this year, you know, there has been somewhat challenging, I guess is a good way to say it. You know, it's provided some opportunities to help some students out in ways we might not have been able to, but then, you know, at the same time, we do have students that are just finishing up with some of their classes right now, and they won't be taking their exams till May. But our teachers are really working hard with them to be able to continue study sessions and that kind of thing throughout the rest of the spring semester. Some of those might be virtual, some of them will be face-to-face. But having said that, you know, the school board said the 4x4 was a one-year thing. I don't know. You know, my anticipation is that we'll be going back to the AB schedule next year, but, you know, I obviously can't say that 100%. But the intent was for this year was, you know, so that if we did shut down, we'd be in a much better place because students would only have to worry about 4 classes. Students are getting the same amount of time, but things are getting a little more, I guess it's a little more intense in some ways because it's every day for 90 minutes. So, other questions? All right, well, thank you for your time. Hope to see your applications on that form here in the next couple of days. Feel free to give us a call as well. We certainly can answer other questions at any time. So thank you very much.